Hi, my name is Alex Hasha. I'm a 5-year resident of Milton and a board member of Sustainable Milton. This year, Sustainable Milton is sponsoring a warrant article for the annual town meeting to adopt the Specialized Building Code, a set of code updates designed to align with Massachusetts' strategy to get greenhouse gas pollution that drives global climate change under control by 2050. I did my PhD research on climate models and worked with researchers who studied long-term worst-case scenarios for climate change. The models predicted the increase in extreme heat, storms, droughts, floods, and wildfires that we've all experienced in recent years. But they also predict the possibility of dramatically more profound, damaging, and irreversible changes whose likelihood increases rapidly the longer our use of fossil fuels continues unchecked. Those of us who live in more affluent parts of the world have lived our whole lives with institutions designed to buffer us from weather variability that we've known over the last 500 years. If we continue with the status quo of fossil fuel pollution, we can expect those institutions to first strain, as we're seeing with insurance markets, then eventually and probably suddenly collapse. This is why I work on climate change advocacy, to preserve my children's birthright of living in a world with abundant food, clean water, energy, and relative peace. But as you consider opposing perspectives, I'd ask that you keep in mind that the risks of inaction or moving too slowly are very serious. Later may be too late. Massachusetts has a strategy to get climate warming and pollution under control in time to prevent the worst-case scenarios of climate change. Adopting the Specialized Building Code is a critical element of the plan to meet our climate goals. It's necessary because buildings produced 45% of Milton's emissions in 2022. The Specialized Building Code will help us stop adding to the problem by incentivizing all-electric construction and ensuring that new buildings that do use fossil fuels can be easily converted to electricity when it becomes economical. Let's dive into the specific rules in the Specialized Code. At a high level, the incremental requirements in the updated Specialized Code are pre-wiring. New buildings that use fossil fuels must have wiring in place for future electrification. Additional solar. New buildings that use fossil fuels must install a certain amount of on-site solar to offset their energy usage. Higher energy efficiency standards for large homes. New single-family homes greater than 4,000 square feet must be all electric or certified zero energy, which means installing adequate solar to offset their energy usage. And large multifamily buildings must also meet more stringent energy efficiency requirements. Adopting the Specialized Code would not have a major impact on current residents, but it does ensure that new buildings are not adding to our climate change problems. The new requirements apply only to new construction. They incentivize but do not require all electric buildings, which are cost competitive, healthier, and necessary to address climate change for the reasons we've been discussing. This approach preserves choice for present and future energy needs. If natural gas heat is the most economical option today, you are still allowed to choose it. But over the lifetime of the building, fossil fuels are unlikely to stay the most cost-effective option, and the Specialized Code requirements protect residents from costly construction projects to change over to electricity in the future. This is so important because builders don't always have an incentive to worry about the long-term trends in energy costs that residents will have to deal with over the lifetime of the building. Today, natural gas is often, but not always, the most inexpensive way to heat a building, with efficient electric heat pumps being a close second. But the trends are not looking good for fossil fuels. The electrification strategy to eliminate climate warming pollution is enabled by a rapid and continuing drop in the cost of renewable electricity, particularly from solar, over the last decade. Our local utilities are investing massively to increase the supply of clean electricity and reduce the cost. On the other hand, Massachusetts has committed to limiting the growth of fossil fuel infrastructure. As communities around us transition to clean electricity, the cost of maintaining natural gas infrastructure will be shared among a smaller number of utility customers. Even under pessimistic assumptions for the pace of electrification, natural gas prices will increase significantly by 2050. To prevent the worst impacts of climate change, we need to dramatically reduce our reliance on fossil fuels over the next few decades. The specialized building code can't do that by itself, but it would represent a commitment as a community to stop making the problem worse, to stop adding new, long-lived fossil fuel infrastructure that not only isn't necessary, but would actually cost its owners more in the long run. No one's arguing that we need to accept impossible costs to save the planet. The specialized code was carefully designed to minimize expense while maximizing benefits to the environment and our energy system. It will not impact current building owners, but new construction owners will save significantly. This is a new and complex topic for most of us, but when you've had a chance to digest, I hope you'll join me in supporting this important step to address climate change here in Milton. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.